Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. Today we are going to decode some very commonly used and often confusing corporate phrases which come from nature, colors and everyday metaphors. They are words like red ocean, blue ocean, etc., even moonlighting. So if you're ever sitting in a meeting room and thinking, why are we talking about forests and oceans and fruit bowls? This video is for you. Let's take a look at it. Nowadays, a very commonly used phrase in the corporates is a greenfield project. Like the term suggests, like a green field with nothing on it. A greenfield project is something that you start from ground zero, absolutely nothing. So there's no competition as well actually. To give you a simple example, let's say a company wants to set up a factory in a new country. There is no old building, no systems, nothing. They are going to start from a scratch. Then that is called a greenfield project. So it's like, buying a new laptop with nothing on it, clean slate, no files, no viruses, absolutely nothing. That is a greenfield project. Now, a brownfield project is when you have something existing in place, but you're just modifying it or upgrading the systems. For example, let's say you're renovating your room. You can't knock down all the walls, but you still want to make it new, give it a new look. That is upgrading the room. That can be called a brownfield project. To give you an example from the industry, let's say you have a manufacturing plant, but you set up new systems, modify the structure, then that can be called a brownfield project. Another very nice phrase that they use in the corporates today is blue ocean. Blue ocean versus red ocean. I'll talk about red ocean a little later. What does blue ocean mean? It means that you enter a market where there is no competition before you. So you can freely launch your business without any competitor. To give you a simple example, when Netflix launched its streaming, there were no other companies doing it. So they had no competition. So it was a blue ocean for them. The others rushed in later, but there was no competition when they started doing it. Therefore, they had a blue ocean stretched ahead of them. In contrast to blue ocean, we have a phrase red ocean. As the term suggests, red ocean is where the ocean is infested by sharks. In other words, there's fierce competition. So everyone is fighting for the same customer base or customer pool. For example, selling burgers, red ocean. Selling smartphones, red ocean. Trying to sell a fitness app, a very red ocean. So you're not just swimming. This is survival. You're trying not to get bitten. The next phrase is a mountain to climb. This one is easy. It simply means there's a huge task ahead of you, a juggernaut task, a mammoth task, which is almost impossible to carry out. For example, your boss says your team needs to cut costs by 30% and increase the output by 20% in the same quarter. Now this is a mountain to climb. Oh, not just any mountain, this is Everest. Harvesting in business means getting returns on something in which you invested a long time back. For example, it's like getting money or views for a YouTube video which you posted maybe many months or years ago. That is called harvesting or reaping the benefits or getting the returns on something that you spent a long time back. Burn rate. This one's obviously inspired by fire. So it tells you how fast the company is spending its money, usually the startups. For example, if your company has like $500,000 and it's spending $50,000 a month, that means you have 10 more months to go before the lights go out. In other words, it's the financial version of how quickly your fuel tank dries up. A perfect storm. Sounds like the title of a movie, right? But in the corporate terms, it means that when several negative factors or things happen at the same time and create a big mess, it's called a perfect storm. For example, let's say the sales drop, the top employee quits, the competitor launches a new product. All these things happen at the same time, then that's a perfect corporate nightmare, or in other words, a perfect storm. Low-hanging fruits. Now this is a phrase which you will hear everywhere, and it simply means that you go for the easiest tasks that give you the fastest win. For example, let's say a company upgrades its website to facilitate conversions. Easy, effective, quick, fast, a classic low-hanging fruit. So it basically means let's get the task done before we suffer. The next one is don't boil the ocean. Obviously impossible, right? Boiling the ocean is an impossible task. This phrase means exactly that. Don't try to do everything at once. Don't take on so much that it becomes impossible to finish or carry out. That is the meaning of don't boil the ocean. Deep dive. This is a classic phrase. It's exactly the opposite of the phrase let's touch base. So deep dive actually means to go to great detail or great length to investigate, to research, and it's not just skimming the surface but actually going in the depth to analyze a certain situation, issue, etc. One very interesting word is moonlighting. Moonlighting means that you're doing a job outside your regular job. So for example, if you're an IT engineer working with a company from 9 to 5, and in addition to that, you're also working as a website designer with some other company or freelancer, then that second job is moonlighting. Usually it is at night and therefore it is inspired by the moon. So a very interesting phrase indeed, moonlighting. By the way, moonlighting is usually illegal, and that's a wrap. These nature-inspired, colorful phrases that we just heard right now may sound very poetic, but they are used in everyday boardrooms, meeting rooms to talk about strategies, financials, progress, competition, etc. And now that you know them, you will find your meetings and corporate jargon much easier to understand. If you want more such content, please like, share and subscribe to our YouTube channel. You can also join our courses online and offline at Bapat Academy. Enjoy English!